think risks to 2017 GDP and our economy from Trump, right? So higher interest rates, take back the jobs back to the U.S.,
Yes, right.
and trade war with China.
Right.
Right. So first, let me share my personal view, right, which is that the impact of Trump will be sizable but manageable, right? I think the impact of Trump will be large, but not as large as the market thinks right now. Right now, the market is really factoring in very large changes. You know, we've seen the biggest moves in the U.S. Treasury bond market. We've seen the biggest moves in currencies since many years ago, right? In some cases, since 2008, currencies haven't moved this much, this fast. So, but I think the reality next year will be smaller than everybody thinks right now. They won't be negligible, right? They will still have a sizable impact, but for now, I think they'll be manageable. Yes, of the three risks that you cited, higher dollar interest rates, take back the jobs to the U.S., trade war, I would put the interest rate risk front and center. You know, I think that's the clear and present danger, I would say. That's by far the biggest risk, is the markets snowball, right? And basically, dollar interest rates march higher quite strongly. The dollar gets stronger, right? And that's probably the most immediate risk. Now, my answer to that would be, well, the whole world has very little choice but to put our faith in the Federal Reserve, right? As the dollar strengthens, as long-term interest rates go up, the Fed will have to take action, probably initially through rhetoric, right? Through guidance, saying that, you know, they stand ready to counteract excessive market moves.
Right.
That's number one. I think number two, you know, on jobs and trade, you know, let me share a quirky insight. Yeah, I think, and this also goes to your second question, what openness, right? Seems like with Brexit, with, you know, the election of Donald Trump, feels like people want to close their markets, want to close their societies. But I would argue actually that that's very superficial, right? Beneath the surface, economies are becoming more open, right? More connected, and first and foremost because of all the things that we're discussing at this Indonesia Economic Forum this week.
Right.
E-commerce,
Right.
social media, digital communication. I think the reality is, you know, the 70% of the reality is that there's more trade than ever before, right? It's just that it's disintegrated into millions of parcels rather than bulk shipment, right? My personal theory is that trade is bigger than ever before. The problem is it's now less and less trade in merchandise or goods, physical goods. It's more and more trade in services, right? Services and digital content, which is now being exported and imported over the internet. And the problem is we in government don't have the tools to measure it and include it in our trade statistics, right? So, and I think deep down, most people know it, are aware of it, right? So give you an example. When I was down in Australia about 6 months ago as trade minister to launch our trade agreement negotiations with Australia, one of my visits was to a great company called freelancer.com, right? And basically they have millions and millions of people offering digital services. And that includes, you know, designing logos or designing, you know, graphics, to making caricatures, like they gave me a caricature of me, right? Like a little caricature painting, to architectural drawings, right? So more and more of the global trade is in services, not goods. And more and more of it is happening online, in what I would argue is the informal economy, right? And official trade data don't capture that activity. So I think openness is now the reality, regardless of what governments do, right? We can't stop it. We're not stopping it. It's snowballing. It's getting bigger and bigger. In fact, I've said on many occasions, I think the risk is we, the governments, get left behind, right? We're still busy with pen and paper, right? With very traditional ways of measuring and regulating things, and the whole world is abandoning us, moving to the digital economy, online, where we struggle to regulate or monitor them, right? So I think President Jokowi has always said, you know, his two main economic principles are openness and competition, right? Those are the reality, regardless what governments do on the surface, regardless what societies do on the surface. You stop immigration, people will outsource the jobs through the internet, right? You stop people from coming, they'll just do high-definition video conference and, you know, collaborate across borders using digital, right? Whether it's Google Hangouts or other online, you know, WebEx, you name it, and you can't stop it. But maybe we're going to do it anyway, right? Because again, just to make people feel better, right? Just to signal to people that we're doing something to address their discomfort.
Great question.